Visa is a global payments company, technology company that connects consumers, businesses, banks and governments in more than 200 countries.
Yes, it has a market cap of $180 billion, a PE ratio of 28 and a dividend yield of 0.86%.
Now this one I am incredibly excited about because it's the technology underpin which immediately eliminates a lot of those infrastructure barriers. And secondly, there's Visa and there's MasterCard. There's a very solid moat around this investment theme.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned theme. That is exactly what this is. It's a thematic play on financial technology, or fintech for short. You're dealing here with the 5th most popular brand or most valuable brand in the entire world. Everyone knows Visa. It processes 39% of card transactions in the world. And I mean, yeah, it's very exciting. Even though the consumer is under a little bit of pressure right now, as we mentioned, globally really, the expectation is still that you're going to keep on seeing an increase in consumption spending. I mean, we have actual countries like China saying actively they want to be more consumer driven. That's a 2 billion person country. So it is exciting, and it does play in that technology space.
It also plays into the theme of ultimately a cashless society,
which you experienced recently in India. You know, that's exactly what they're trying to push. I got some interesting stats from last year. They processed 71 billion transactions on 2.4 billion cards, which means almost 1 in 3 people on this planet has a Visa card. And when you look at Europe, which is a very developed region, 37% of transactions still take part in place in cash. And that's in one of the most developed regions. I mean, imagine what it's like in the likes of India and China. I've been traveled through South America, and they almost discourage you to not use your card because, you know, they don't want to pay taxes and stuff. But the regulations are going that way.
Exactly. So we're moving in line with the trend. We've got a dominant brand. Let's have a look at the share price graph. If it's cheap enough, we should just sell our houses and buy into this one.
Well, historically, this is one of the cheapest Visas looked like on a PE basis because their earnings are growing quite nicely, you know, north of 10-15%, because they recently just bought Visa Europe, which is very earnings enhancing. Obviously, they took on a bit of debt. Having said that, they've almost bought back over the last 5 to 8 years 1/3 of all their shares in issue. They're doing a big share buyback program.
And again, that is net positive for the shareholders out there. Can we fault Visa? What are the risks?
Oh, well, the risks are obviously an increase in competition, especially in Europe and in the US, but really, and then also disruptive technology, the likes of mobile payments making ingrounds, and they do have their own mobile payment app or like app in development, and they also have a partnership with PayPal, but that could easily go sour,
but
and
most
then
of these
they'll have an issue.
innovations on the face of the client facing is where the innovation is. They still use Visa to process all the transactions.
Exactly.
I was trying to think, even with PayPal, you have to enter your credit card number, be it Visa or MasterCard.
Yes,
you're not going to get away from that. As you say, there is that partnership that could sour. But right now, it looks as though they are firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, I really had to nitpick to look for something that's wrong with this company. But I mean, overall, we're looking at strong revenue growth, the possibility of good margin expansion as that Visa Europe acquisition gets better down, synergy gains get realized. As you mentioned, it looks as cheap as it's looked in a very long time. This is a really attractive one.
It's hot in your book. It's hot in your book.
It is. It's looking cheaper than it has, but it is always expensive because of the reasons we've spoken about, but certainly hot.
So you're not going to get a buying opportunity that potentially looks better than this?
Well,
never
put your
say
money
never.
where your mouth
Never
is.
say never.